wrote about BPOs. Sagility was one of them. JM Financial, L&T Finance are a couple of other NBFCs. Mayuresh Joshi, Director Research at MarketSmith India, is now with us on the show. Mayuresh, thanks for joining in. Give us one interesting idea that popped up on your radar this week.
Afternoon, Rima. I think one was Minda, which we discussed, I think, at the beginning of this week. The other one, I think, remains similarly from the auto ancillary pack itself. And we've got Bosch also, one of the auto ancillaries on our watch list. I think it is showing a very, very strong rating as far as the price rating is concerned at MarketSmith India. But as far as the fundamentals are concerned, I think reverting back both to its EBIT margin performance with strong expectations in terms of top line growth, expectations of a very strong margin performance going forward, because input costs have largely stabilized for the whole universe. And therefore, I think recoupment of EBIT margins particularly, should probably help bottom line growth quite significantly. So I think within auto anchors, I think both these names, Minda is something that we've recently added in our model portfolios, and Bosch is something that we are keeping on our watches.
Okay, so auto ancillaries, interesting name. Mayuresh, hi. Earlier in the show, we were just debating this recovery in PayTM, and it's been quite stellar, right? This week, the stock is up 10%. It's up, I think, 20% over this month. What's your sense? Is the worst behind? I mean, does it make sense to enter in now? Or do you think this is still maybe not too clear, the path ahead and the recovery ahead?
Afternoon, Surabhi. I think a lot of the headwinds that PayTM was probably facing from a regulatory perspective related to onboarding of merchants, as an example, then the online payments that basically beleaguered its operations almost a year and a half back. And everything probably seems to come back on track. And therefore, I think the price action that you're probably seeing is a large testimony to the expectations that the street is probably now laying out. With most of these headwinds going through, including the stake sale, a large part of that has already happened in terms of the overhang that existed in terms of supply of PayTM as a stock from the promoter or the from Manfred side. I think a large part of that is largely behind us. And therefore, I think the street will now look forward with everything that has happened positively. How does that reflect on numbers? Ex-ESOP costs. So I think ex-ESOP costs, if the numbers show significant signs of improvement, I think there will be re-rating around the corner. But the street will ideally like to watch out for Survey, how Q2 numbers play out, what is the guidance given, and whether there is a stark improvement in terms of what the management had guided for and what it actually delivered. So from a price perspective, I think it has recovered most of the deterioration that it had faced. In our opinion at MarketSmith, again, I think the price action has been a little bit too strong. Our own sense is that it might actually just consolidate unless we get clarity from Q2 numbers. If they're relatively better, I think there is no two ways. I think the street will take it with both hands.
And finally, one more stock which really made headlines this week, and that was Ola Electric because of the price action, right? Ola had that one big day. It was up almost 15%. It's actually ending with a gain of 13, almost 14% for the week, though it's down today, Ola Electric. Buy, avoid, hold?
No, you're not buying it. Not at this juncture, at least. So I think a large part of that move, Survi, for the rationale that we are giving out is has taken place in terms of expectations of what might come in Q2. Again, the management sounds very, very optimistic in terms of delivery when it comes to the EBIT performance, the bottom line as well over the next few quarters. But again, I think the proof in the pudding is the numbers. So I think if the numbers are relatively better, even if the price moves higher, I think you've got sufficient enough confidence that the management is delivering on what they're probably hoping to do. And let's have a look at the landscape. Within the unorganized space, I think they're facing immense competition. The organized players have come out with fantastic platforms as well as far as the EVs are concerned. And therefore, I think from a sales perspective, from a distribution perspective, from an after-sales perspective, all the issues that had beleaguered Ola Electric, I think the bigger players are probably doing all these things in the right way.
All right. Okay, Mayuresh, shorter conversation today, but thank you very much for joining in. We leave you now to enjoy your weekend. Thanks so much for chipping in with those views on a couple of stocks.